What? Buster makes me feel good. Makes me feel good.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is a movie I was not necessarily looking forward to. I was one of the audience members that did not like Afterlife. It was not memorable. I cannot remember one thing other than the cute marshmallows murdering each other in the most heinous ways possible. It was cute. It was very Minion-esque. But this movie, it's just kind of the same thing, but set in New York City. Were they not like in the Midwest or some rural farmland before? When did they make that transition? Was it at the end of the last movie? Because I don't remember that. They're in New York and there's a threat of an ice ghost that is wanting to rule the world and escape their prism of this evil ball. A lot of other things are happening as well, subplots that don't really need to be explained in this plot summary. It's because they don't really go anywhere. This ghost, demon, whatever you want to call it, is it even a ghost at this point? Because it has horns, there's dragons in this movie. I feel like they could have used exposition in a great way to explain what this ice demon ghost thing is, and they do for the better part of the movie. I just kind of felt like it was lackluster. Like it wasn't really a scary, it wasn't a threat. It felt like the biggest threat of the movie was the mayor, because you felt this coming of age story coming from the main character, and she was having a hard time not being a Ghostbuster. And I feel like if we focused more on that instead of some big bad threatening to destroy the world, we would have had a much more coherent film. It has so much potential to be just a great movie because it sets up so many great ideas that could honestly expand over a trilogy of movies. They cram it all into just one film where it's all in an effort to defeat, again, this icy, frozen demon. This movie is called Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, but the Empire only lasts for about 5 to 10 minutes, and that's towards the end of the film. It's kind of like Age of Ultron, where you know what Age of Ultron means, right? Or an age of something. It means like a very long time. And then an empire that lasted 5 to 10 minutes, it feels very disconnected. It feels very marketing heavy and not really in tone with the film, and I feel like that affects the staying power of Ghostbusters. For me, Ghostbusters, it was never really that big of a deal. The only Ghostbusters I enjoyed as a child, I enjoyed the movies, I'll admit that, but they weren't like Star Wars to me. They weren't like these big movies that I loved. The Ghostbusters that I grew up with was in gym class back in elementary school. You guys ever rode on those scooters and you guys had to hide in the little cardboard huts, and it was like in the total darkness and there were like flashing strobe lights, and it was like tag, but on the ground and you had to roll around. I probably developed some hip and ankle issues out of that as a young kid, but you know what? It was worth it because that game was absolutely fun, and that's the Ghostbusters I remember. But I do love the movie. I enjoy it, but not to the extent of most other people, and so I don't feel like I'm blinded by the nostalgia. The first movie, it's silly, it's goofy, it has those sexual innuendos. In this movie, it has all of that, and I feel like a lot of people are getting upset about this because they're like, oh, it's too childish, or oh, it has too many adult innuendos. But have you guys never seen the original Ghostbusters? I think the thing that is absolutely crippling this movie is the lack of style and the lack of substance. Heck, give this movie to A24 and they will probably be making a grandiose Ghostbusters with film grain, those blooming highlights, that filmic integrity that you see from all of these amazing movies. Have you guys seen an A24 movie? I can only imagine if A24 had the rights to Ghostbusters, they would be making some pretty epic, memorable films. But with movies like this and the power of just HD digital quality, everything seems super polished and clean, and not to mention a lot of this movie is filmed in the daytime, and it takes away that eeriness that the original film had. And they do have daytime scenes in those older movies, of course they do. But also at the same time, they made it a little bit more edgier. Like the shadows were darker, they were harsher, they weren't as soft. Their main focus is to make Paul Rudd look young and sexy. They're trying to make people look young and good and quality over the fact that we have a coherent story. And yes, there is a coherent story in this movie, but it's lacking because it's missing a lot of those great charms that the original movie had, such as character development, and you can especially see this established with the main character. This little girl, the one who is struggling to be a Ghostbuster while facing child labor laws throughout the movie, she's having a hard time at it, and that could make a great coming-of-age story. But again, we don't necessarily focus on that. It doesn't feel like this movie has any tact to it. It doesn't have that staying power like I mentioned. It just kind of feels like, here's the problem, you caused it, oh, you don't take any responsibility, and then yet you are still rewarded for all of the actions by the end of this movie. And then we have that little sweet moment between her and her stepfather, or what's his name, Gary? I don't even know his name. Paul Rudd's character. That's weird that I don't know any of these characters' names. I know the actors, like Finn Wolfhard. I don't know his character's name. I know Podcast, because it's unique. I feel like Dan Aykroyd, this was kind of his movie. This was his show. He ran a lot of it. He had all the nostalgia, the emotional beats. You felt that nostalgia, him looking out the window, seeing the car, the Ghostbusters car drive on by. You can tell he wanted to be there, that he wanted to be a part of this. And all of the other Ghostbusters in this movie, from the original show or from the original movies, they just kind of felt like they were given a paycheck to be there, to make some nostalgia bait happen. There's so many different ways on how you can make your own Ghostbusters movie into an actual Ghostbusters movie. Whereas this movie, it's just over-reliant on nostalgia, and that's it. It's like you want a donut that tastes really good, but you end up getting a plain bagel. Where's the icing? Where are the sprinkles? Where's everything that makes a donut a donut? Where's everything that makes Ghostbusters Ghostbusters? It's lacking for sure. And like I said, there are lots of great ideas, but the writing just goes all over the place, or it advances those plots way too quickly. Speaking of which, the Fire Master in this movie, if you guys haven't seen the movie, I won't spoil it, but there's a Fire Master to counter the Ice Demon, and his story, it's just like, and it's done. I wish that they would stop making nostalgia bait movies. I wish that they would actually put some effort into this. But I guess effort doesn't equate money these days. I don't know. I'm disappointed with the movie, but let me know what you guys think about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire in the comments down below. Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? And let me know why you guys liked it or why you guys didn't like it. I'm always open to learning new perspectives on filmmaking. If you guys didn't know, I'm making my first movie this year. Don't know when it's going to be done, if it's going to be done this year or next year, but I'm currently working on it, writing the script. But yeah, I'm just always eager to learn about perspectives and helping in making a movie, not just for me and my creative endeavors, but for an audience to actually enjoy and not over-rely on the days of the past. So yeah, let me know if you guys like this movie, why or why not, and if you guys like movie reviews, we do this every single week. I am kind of slowing things down a little bit to focus on some other things happening in life, but yeah, overall, I would give this movie a straight up 4 out of 10. I cannot recommend anyone go and check this out. Maybe wait for it to be on streaming, and if you're already paying for the platform, maybe check it out then. But as of now, I would say skip this movie. Let's stop supporting nostalgia bait movies at the theaters. Our wallets tell Hollywood and these smaller studios what exactly we want. And I think that we need to start demanding for some better productions. But that's just my take.